Hi, ladies and gents. My name is Giovanna Elias, and today we're going to jump into the difference between emotional vomiting versus being vulnerable. Now, often I hear from people, they say, oh, I just don't want to be that person that's always complaining. And I say, okay, I totally get it. And there's a very big difference between being that person who's always complaining and emotionally vomiting versus being that person that opens up, that shares, and that really knows how to be vulnerable. And so what's the difference between the two, and why is it so important to distinguish them? Well, someone, for example, who's being more vulnerable, opening up and sharing with somebody important in their life, maybe family or friends or a loved one, a partner, that in the end builds connection. When we open up to these people in our lives, we get deeper into connecting and understanding with them. Whereas on the other side, if we're emotionally vomiting, often the end result is that we leave the person feeling drained. And so how do we make sure that we're opening up, we're sharing, we're expressing ourselves, we're building that understanding and connection, but without leaving the other person feeling drained in the end? And I break this down into an acronym that I call FIGHT, F-I-T-E. So, starting with the F, frequency. Someone who's often emotionally vomiting is frequently vomiting their emotional state. And so that could mean every single day they're complaining and criticizing, just dumping how they're emotionally feeling onto that person. Or it could look like spending hours upon hours just complaining and dumping and outletting without realizing that they haven't taken a breath of air. On the other side, someone that's being vulnerable, they're sharing, and they're really coming with a gentleness, and it's not every single day. It might be something that's taking place that day, or that week, or that month, or for a period of time that someone is going through something and then moving beyond that. And so this really leads to the second part, which is the I of fight, and that's the intention. And so someone who's emotionally dumping often is just complaining and criticizing without really a clear outcome or goal or intention. And it could probably be just about anybody sitting in front of them that they could just outlet on. Versus someone that's being vulnerable and opening up is really being intentional about asking for support, asking for insight, wanting some type of soothing or direction, so that way they can actually move forwards beyond the issue that they're currently facing. The third part to this, the T, is your tone. And this is really about the tone sounding very different. Someone that's emotionally vomiting often has a tone that's full of intense criticism and judgment, versus someone that's being vulnerable often has a more diplomatic or an even calmer tone. And that tone is really an openness and a willingness to learn, to hear another perspective, to find solutions together. And the final piece to all of this is the energy. And this is the energetic signature. And the energy of someone that is emotionally dumping is often quite heavy, and this is what leads to that drain feeling at the end. Versus someone that's more vulnerable, someone that's sharing and opening up, they're really often having a lighter sort of feeling, a more openness, a fluidity to their energy, where they say, I'm actually here to learn from you. I'm here to see what can come out of this conversation. And so that does feel a lot lighter than just that heavy sort of emotional dump. Now, how do we actually be this person who is not necessarily frequently complaining or just criticizing or has this heavy draining tone or energy? How do we be that person that is lighter and open-minded and wanting some sort of feedback and support and can express that and is open to sharing but not necessarily dumping? And that really looks like learning how to channel your energy into other fields, other modes, to be able to present the information to someone without it feeling heavy in the end. And so what that could really look like in simple terms is, if you had a hard day, go work out, go do breath work, do a little journaling, make a hot bath, go for a walk, and then open up to the person, open up to your partner, your friends, your loved ones, family, and express what it is that you need of them. Express that you need soothing or insight or direction or support. And now that feeling, that expression, that vulnerability will feel so much different for the person on the receiving end rather than it feeling heavy and draining. And so we really want to be conscious of this at the end of the day. How are we presenting anything that's going on for us internally? How is it being received on the other end? And can we channel our feelings in such a way that when we do come forwards and we are vulnerable and expressive with the person in front of us, we're not actually draining their energy, but we're really actually sharing and opening up and listening to their insights. That way we can build stronger connection in the end. Thank you. My name is Giovanna Elias, and I hope that this was an insightful dose of wisdom for you today.